afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Starladder Season 8 Round Robin. We're here with day number 20 of that initial 30 days, and we've got only 2 matches coming up for you today, but the first one, gonna be a good one. RoX.KiS versus Power Rangers, just about to get underway. I am Zyori. With me once again today is Cinderin, and Cinderin, my friend, how are you today?
I'm very good. I'm excited to see the outcome of this game. Of course, I've had my own little bit of streaming earlier on today, as I believe you did. So we are warmed up with our voices and everything, I suppose. So yeah, let's jump right into it. Of course, like you said, RoX versus PR, and want to point out before we really jump into this game how important this matchup actually is, because as we know in this tournament, top 4 advances to the LAN finals. RoX.KiS and PR have played almost the same amount of games. RoX.KiS has played 1 game less, and if we imagine that they lose that game, then these two teams are completely tied for 4th place at the current state. So RoX.KiS is 8-2, PR is 8-3, and that means if PR win this game, they're actually in a really good position. So I think they realize how important this is for their chances to go to the Starladder finals. And another interesting and funny fact about this is that the last time these two teams met, guess what? It was last season of Starladder. So apparently it seems like this. Yeah, there's a bit of history with these two teams as far as Starladder goes, and maybe, I'm not sure how important the match was last time around, but at least this time around it is maybe one of the most important matches for them in the whole tournament. So, yeah. RoX.KiS, not gonna make it seem like it's not important to them. At least they get their first pick, Pugna, that you know I love, and Baden as well.
Yeah, pretty classic opener for RoX.KiS. We saw them yesterday, and they did that pretty aggressive pushing strat. They did first pick Pugna as well, if I'm not mistaken, against Flipside. I think that's the game it was. And it worked pretty well for him. And also important to note, Power Rangers, like you said, they are kind of in the running for a first place pending some of their next results, but they have played a couple of their more difficult matches. They have beaten Alliance already, which is one of the big ones. So being 8-3 at this stage and having one of those big wins under your belt actually puts Power Rangers in a really good position here. So a match that they absolutely need to win if they want to continue on that dominating streak. And they'll open with a pretty standard set of openers here. Crystal Maiden and Nyx Assassin. We don't see him in that second pick situation very often, but perhaps anticipating the Nature's Prophet pick, and well, that'll save them a ban perhaps, as Nyx does tend to dissuade opponents from grabbing that Nature's Prophet.
That's one good point, and another point is, of course, how good of a counter pick it is to Pugna.
Yes.
Pugna is a fragile hero, very weak, and has very high intelligence gain, so the mana burn hurts, and actually a support Nyx Assassin on level 6 can, if not one-shot Pugna with his full combo, then almost, so he might only need a little bit of help. And as far as fights go, and when the game develops and we get further into the game, when Nyx starts leveling up that mana burn so it comes down to a whopping 4-second cooldown on level 4, this hero can actually kind of, if you're playing against the right type of heroes, he can deal the same damage as a semi-carry in the mid-game against those heroes, or even as a carry. And Pugna is one of those he really punishes. So I like that, and like you said, Prophet, not gonna get banned, and it's a hero that we've seen RoX.KiS actually prioritize quite a lot for this kind. We saw it yesterday when they played that, and might have to think twice about it.
Yeah, now one of the other things that's a little bit scary if RoX.KiS do want to go for a really aggressive lineup is OD still in the pool. Veno was banned out. He is a great support to meshes well with a pushing strat, but that Essence Aura from OD really adds a lot of sustain when you're going for those long pushes, and can sometimes allow those supports enough mana to continue that support, keep healing, and get that mech back off cooldown, and continue pushing forward. So another hero that RoX.KiS may want to consider, though he does tend to be a final pick in many a case, and PR could ban him out with that final ban, depending on the rest of this draft. Looks like Power Rangers, though, going to follow in the steps of Na'Vi with their 3rd pick, Luna.
Reserve time.
Nice pickup as well. I think this hero in the right cases can be very good against what RoX.KiS are setting up for here. I think what PR might be realizing is, since there's an Abaddon picked by RoX, their aggressive trial lane potential is not necessarily that good. I'm not saying Abaddon can't work in an aggressive trial lane, but he has his limitations as far as what he can do. So you can pick an easy lane farmer that can obviously get a lot out of that lane at that point, and with the supports they have, both Crystal Maiden and Nyx, most likely a hero RoX were maybe planning on would be the Weaver, but not the easiest off lane to go into, even with an Abaddon with you. Crystal Maiden and Nyx Assassin both with some good stuff, and Dazzle, actually. Yes! You're gonna be really happy. I could tell you were gonna be so happy about this. It's a hero Godblack has liked to pick and play in the past, especially with these kind of pushing lineups that aim to break the base at about the 25-minute mark or so. Dazzle is really one of the best sustaining supports in the game for just keeping a push going and keeping everyone healthy with Shallow Grave, with Weave, and of course the Shadow Wave, which is the actual heal. He is an overlooked hero in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and he definitely works well in these pushing lineups. Again, OD still complements this. That Essence Aura really works well with Dazzle, because he's one that likes to spam those abilities, especially if they go for a mid-game push and he has a couple extra points in Shadow Wave. That's one of those abilities you're going to be burning basically every time it's off cooldown at that 6 seconds at level 4. So I like this pick, and I'm a little bit interested to see exactly how they want to lane this. This could be a tri-lane with Pugna in the 1 position, and of course the Abaddon Dazzle supports, and they describe an off-laner and a mid-hero. But they have a lot of options here as well. Dazzle can also be a mid choice, depending on what Power Rangers want to do mid. If it looks like they do want to put Nyx Assassin mid, I think Dazzle might actually be a viable option for RoX.KiS in that solo mid lane.
It's a possible option for them. I think it is going to be a support, though, because I believe Godlike picked this for himself, and he is a support player for this team. Speaking of Weaver, that we talked about a little bit earlier, by the way, I could really see that being a very, very good pick for Power Rangers right now. I think it's excellent. They are going to go for the Prophet, though. Might try to... they might be worried that RoX.KiS is going to try to run them over with this push, so by split pushing and, of course, having the global presence, might be able to deal with the kind of lineup that RoX is planning on. It will get the Clinks, though, and I don't know. I'm not sure why Weaver is being ignored, because these two teams are teams, especially Power Rangers, that have a history of picking that Weaver. Moon plays a very, very good Weaver, and there's no stun yet on RoX.KiS, so I really think that could be a very nice pickup for them, also with the kind of lineup they have. And secondly, a deny pick against the Abaddon. Maybe not so important anymore now, though, that Clicks is on the field for them.
Yeah, one of the issues with, for both sides now, that they have an invisible hero already, the Nyx Assassin and the Clinks respectively, is that it makes those detection items, the wards, the dust, all that stuff, the sentries, a little bit more valuable if you can catch 2. And here we'll see Starladder banned out. They are fearing that Dazzle Starladder combo, and RoX.KiS going to be the ones to ban out OD. Of course, they do have last pick, so even if they wanted him here, perhaps a bit nervous that Power Rangers could snag him. So I think a smart choice. He would actually work really well with this Power Rangers roster. So maybe that's a little bit of why they're afraid of the Weaver pick, so to speak. But we'll see. Power Rangers will have the option to snag him here if they want it.
I really don't know what they're planning on right now, but my main concern for PR is whether or not they can sustain, because there's not too much in RoX.KiS's lineup that's worrying, apart from their ability to push towers together. That's what they really tend to like to pick around, that kind of playstyle. And PR don't have too much wave clearing. They have Frost, they have the Crystal Nova, they have the Impale from Nyx, which is a really expensive spell to use just to clear out a creep wave, and then Nature's Prophet's ult. And they're actually going to go with an Enigma here, so interesting is a very good word for this, because Enigma has very high mana costs, so fighting against Pugna is tricky with Enigma, to say the least. Secondly, there's an Orchid carrier in Clinks, and a third point about it is, once again, can they manage to deal with the push? Maybe PR is just planning, okay, we're going to just push ourselves. If they want to try to brute force towers, so can we with our Luna Aura, Treant, as well as Eidolons.
Yeah, they have really a lot of pushing power here as well. One of the problems with this Power Rangers roster I see, no strength heroes. And not that there's a lot of strength heroes on the side of RoX.KiS, but they just don't have a very tanky lineup. Everyone very, very squishy. And it's going to be a final pick Clockwork, which I absolutely love here. He's great against Enigma. That battery assault makes him so difficult. It makes it difficult for Enigma. If the battery assault is on and he gets caught in the black hole, it'll still interrupt him if he gets hit. And that hook shot, of course, will interrupt black hole from a pretty long distance. So a great hero to try and deal with the effects of Enigma. And, well, if he wasn't the last pick, I'd say a good deny pick, because Clockwork works well against Pugna as well. But I think a very nice pick to round off their roster, as they did need an offlaner as well. And, of course, Clockwork plays that role very well.
Interestingly enough, though, I feel like RoX maybe might have still had a setup where they could maybe run the Clinks offlane together with Abaddon, because, well, like I said early on, it's not necessarily the best thing to do, but now with the Enigma pick coming out from PR, it's fairly obvious that PR will be running a dual lane top. Crystal Maiden with Luna, probably, I wouldn't expect anything else. And then they're putting the Nyx Assassin mid against what they're assuming will be a Pugna, probably. So they could have tried to go just a dual lane top with Abaddon, for example, and Clinks. Still no saying that they're not doing that, but the way it looks right now, like you said, Sedoy will generally be playing that off lane and probably go up there with Clockwork. So. Yeah, well, it's a tricky draft for me, to be honest. I think yesterday when RoX.KiS had their picks against, who were they playing against yesterday? I don't even remember, but they rolled over that game really hard. I think it was Flipside Russia. This time around, I'm not favoring them so much as far as the draft goes. I like the idea and I like the creativity here, but I think it could also backfire a bit if PR get off to the kind of start they're looking for. They have explosive mid game and really great fighting potential as well.
Yeah, and they are going to check out level 1 Roche just in case. That has been a strategy that has been tried a bit over the past few days, so smart play from RoX.KiS to head over there to the Roche pit and just scout it out and make sure there's nobody inside and nothing too crazy is happening. Now, it looks like it is going to be a tri-lane Pugna. Biz going to be the one in control of the Pugna, Yol going to be on the Dazzle, and Go Black going to be the one on the Abaddon, and it looks like they will be gearing up for a tri-lane. Scandal going to be on the Clinks, most likely going to be in the mid, and as you mentioned, Sadoy on the Clockwork, their typical off-lane player. Now, on the side of Power Rangers, it is going to be Moon playing on the Luna, right now stationed in the mid lane. Looks like Power Rangers are going to switch things up a little bit here and throw Luna in the mid. Cheshire Cat going to be in the long lane Nature's Prophet role. Up top, it will be ZXC for a solo safe lane Nyx Assassin, I guess. This is going to be a tri-lane mid, maybe? FNG going to be on the Crystal Maiden. Oh, and J4 on the Enigma, pardon me. He'll be in the jungle. So no tri-lanes coming out, of course. But it is going to be a dual lane mid with the solo Nyx up top.
I really like this idea coming out from PR as well. I think they realized, especially when they see what players are playing what heroes for RoX.KiS, that Scandal is going to be mid on the Clinks. A little bit of harassment going to go both ways here. But what they're assuming is they're expecting that RoX.KiS will think that they think that Pugna is mid. Now, this is going to be a little bit next level. Oh, wow. Scandal actually laying into Moon. He might almost bring him down here.
One more. Wow.
Oh, wow. Just that damage coming out from the Searing Arrows, catching him by surprise, and bit of a mistake here from PR.
Well. Yeah.
But, just to finish off my trail of thought, they were expecting Pugna to be mid, and then, or they were expecting that RoX.KiS would think they put Pugna mid, so then if they put Nyx mid there, he would be up against the Clinks, which is a really unfavorable matchup for the Nyx. So they try to adapt to the scenario. Obviously, Nyx Assassin against Clock isn't the best lane either, but I think it's better than the Clinks, and this way they deny the Clinks as farm as well. So really like the idea, but yeah, theoretically, because well, this start in this lane definitely wasn't good, because RoX.KiS adapted just as well by moving the Abaddon in there and seeing the opportunity in the lane. That was a little bit of a ramble, but sometimes Dota is really kind of a little bit of a ramble for your mind with, oh, I think they're doing this, and then they think we're doing that, and then blah, 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 adapting.
I see where you're coming from with that one. It was sort of an adaptation into an adaptation, like a counter ward countering a counter ward, sort of a type scenario with the lane.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it.
Good analogy, but still, sort of, there isn't a very poetic way to explain it. But it is going to break down into a duo lane down here. Dazzle will just be supporting Pugna, and Nature's Prophet, well, he's doing all right. He's able to pick up, well, a deny here, but he's in experience range. He's well on his way to level 3, so not too bad for this Prophet. He's going to have to be careful down here, though. One thing I don't like about this lane is that Dazzle and Pugna actually don't synergize that well. Pugna works well with other big magic damage dealers because of that Decrepify, and Dazzle isn't one. Shadow Wave and Poison Touch are both physical. So if you're Decrepified, I think you can still Poison Touch someone, but if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't do damage while they're Decrepified.
That's how it should work, at least.
Yes.
I think you're right about that. And Shadow Wave doesn't deal damage to Decrepified targets either, unless... At least that's the way it should work in theory, but there are a little bit of weird things sometimes in the universe of Dota, but... I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
The point about their lane, though, is not to awe Scandal, taking a bit of harassment here in the mid. They are going to force him back and make him use his last tango, but the point of this lane in the bottom is, there we go, Poison Touch is going to land. They'll force him away, not going to bring him down, though. And the point of the lane isn't to make a kill. The point of the lane is to put pressure, simply. Deny Prophet the farm, get the levels on Dazzle, and they're going to be perfectly fine if they manage to accomplish both.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's one of the other downsides of Dazzle as a support. He really needs that experience. He's one of those heroes that really every ability is worth leveling to some degree. Of course, some are more valuable than others. That value point in Shallow Grave tends to be the way to go, but not a bad ability to level up either. Really wants to grab those points in Poison Touch for damage, and also points in Shadow Wave, so that he can lower that cooldown and do just a little bit more healing. So good to have a duo lane here. Dazzle really not a hero that works in those tri-lanes, in my opinion. I think he just needs that experience a bit too much to be an effective tri-laner. So I do like that part of this setup from RoX.KiS. And up top, it looks like their Clockwork doing very, very well. As you mentioned, not the best matchup for Nyx, but 17-7 on Sadoy right now. Nyx Assassin only 7-1, so ZXC really not getting a lot of farm here.
I think Nick should be doing a bit better than this, especially considering he is in the easy lane position, but I suppose Enigma hasn't helped him out at all. So if Sedoi gets the better of him a couple of times, I believe Nick's assassin was actually out of mana really early, so I think Sedoi landed 2 really good cogs there. It's not so easy for Nyx in this position, but overall, I think we could definitely say it's favoring RoX.KiS in terms of farm, but experience, they're still trailing, and that's the Enigma factor that we've talked about a couple of times already on the stream, and he's level 5, whereas the supports on RoX are level 3, so it's a natural development. Another bit of frostbite here in the mid lane. I really like how much PR are harassing this Klinks. He hasn't got a bottle, Goblek only has so much mana, and they have a lot more. They have the Crystal Maiden aura. So they just keep harassing with this frostbite.
Yep, and they are doing a fair job keeping the farm of Klinks down. It looks like him and Luna are just about comparable. Luna sitting 18-6, and Klinks 20-4, so not too shabby.
Top lane said, oh, he's going to be in trouble now.
Yep, he's going to overcommit here. Impale to start things off. The Malphite's going to come in. He's going to try and turn and make it back, but I think Sedoi going to be destined to fall. The Spike Carapace comes, and yeah, that Battery Assault not going to do much for him there. Enigma going to grab that kill, so that will level it out. Power Ranger's going to get one on the board. I think a much-needed kill, given how well Sedoi was doing up against ZXC on that Nyx.
And what's even more important about it is when you play a safe lane Nyx, he gets level 6 really fast, obviously, and because of that assist he got there, he almost has his arcane boots. And the heroes that RoX.KiS have around the map are actually really fragile, apart from this Clockwork and Abaddon. Both Dazzle, Klinks, and Pugna are food for this hero right now. Gonna buy the arcanes. Whenever he's missing from top, RoX.KiS need to be careful in their other 2 lanes, because Nyx can pretty much solo any of the heroes there.
Yeah, and that's part of that problem that we talked about in the drafting phase. Not a very tanky lineup on either side, really, but RoX.KiS, without the, except for Abaddon, a pretty squishy lineup as well. I guess the Clockwork is fairly tanky, so they have more than PR, but you're definitely right about that. And now that Enigma is level 6, actually just now hitting level 7, looks like they may want to roam towards the mid. There is a smoke in the inventory of J4. They're not going to use it here, but he is going to rotate his way towards the mid and maybe looking to set up a kill with that black hole. If they could set up a kill on the Klinks, that would be huge right now. Looks like he was headed down to the bottom lane to grab that 6-minute rune. I almost said 0-0. Yeah, but now
Cheshire Cat here. I think he will be able to survive this. Yes, he will if he sprouts himself and just TPs now. Exactly what he needed to do there. Scandal, not going to get up.
Yeah, nothing he could do right there. So he will deny that DD rune, though. A cute little play from Cheshire Cat on that Nature's Prophet. And does survive to tell the tale. So in the mid, now Goblek in trouble. Only level 4 on the Abaddon. Of course, no borrowed time. And that's going to be another easy kill as J4 moves out of the jungle. So Power Rangers making some good rotations here. Now Cheshire Cat, with a few seconds left on that DD, will port mid. And they're going to try and knock down this Tier 1 tower. They've got Treants, they've got Eidolons. And that's usually a pretty good recipe for doing some heavy damage to a tower here in the early game.
As well as 4 heroes with Lunar Blessing level 2. This goes very quickly. I think RoX.KiS are going to have to just Sudoku this tower.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have anything better. They're going to have to concede it. And yeah, Scandal will try the deny, actually almost getting it there. Nice attempt, but hard against 4 heroes with this high amount of damage.
Yeah.
And RoX.KiS trying to get the best possible trade here at the bottom lane, but Prophet comes down. Cheshire Cat's going to get his level 6 out of this. And I have to say, right now, PR in a really good position. And once this Nyx Assassin starts moving, I'm worried for RoX.KiS with what I said early on in the draft, that they're just going to fall apart because of their lack of tank ability. They're very fragile against this Nyx Assassin.
Mm-hmm. So what can they do to alter that? Is this sort of get some Lincolns, get some tanky items, maybe grab a drum or 2? Is there something that they can do item-wise to try and thwart the efforts of Nyx Assassin when he starts moving about?
I think the mechanism that Pugna seems to be building right now is going to be a good solution. Of course, they want to try to play this kind of pushing strat with a little bit of Klinks involved, but the problem is that I don't feel like their teamfight potential is better than PR's, so what's going to win them fights is going to be the Nether Ward, I believe.
Yeah.
But with the type of lineup they've constructed here and the start PR has gotten, the amount of pressure they're putting, as long as it's RoX.KiS adapting to PR's moves, I think they're in a losing position. RoX.KiS's lineup is built to force the enemy to respond, and they just haven't done it yet. We're 8.5 minutes in, of course, it's not too far into the game, but so far so good for PR, and they've got all the levels they need, all the farm they need, and it's gonna be them pushing the Tier 1 atop.
Yeah, they're going to check it, and it looks like they're going to start chipping away, not going to commit too hard, but Enigma still has that black hole, he's yet to use it. And we'll see how they want to react. Nature's Prophet is going to stay in the bottom lane, though, as Pugna is starting to chip away at this tower, spamming that Nether Blast. And, well, tower still with quite a few hit points left, but at least keeping the Prophet occupied down here. Now, it looks like Pugna is indeed going to be going for that early mech, as you mentioned, but he does have a casual Belt of Strength right now. Probably going to be the Necronomicon eventually. But I like that he picked up the Belt of Strength nice and early, just to get a little bit of extra strength and to try and, you know, just tank up against the Nyx Assassin. So it seems that RoX.KiS are at least aware that they're going to be having some survivability issues, though. Up in the top, their Tier 1 tower taking heavy pressure now. Sudoi and GoBlack in a position to try and defend, perhaps. Kalkork is level 8, so does have a hook shot, obviously.
Cheshire Cat outplaying them at bottom as well. And here comes Sidixi. Nice sentry ward down here from Yol.
Yep.
Might actually keep them alive.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That Impale going to be off the mark. Yol in a little bit of trouble here. He's just going to Shallow Grave and pour it out. Recognizing the Impale's on cooldown. Very smart play. He will survive. Meanwhile, on the top, though, Power Rangers still coming out the victors in terms of tower exchanging. That hook shot off the mark. Oh, no. Now the black hole comes out. That's going to be the end of the Clinks. Sudoi going to get clipped by the black hole and at least disable him. GoBlack trying to deny the tower while Sudoi stays in the front lines. The tower deny will be successful. Cogs come out, and Sudoi going to try and turn and make it out of there. Abaddon close to 6, but not quite at that mark. And will survive the frostbite. So a little bit of a sloppy play there from RoX.KiS. That hook shot really looked like it was on point to me, but I guess that was just a little north.
Devastating miss, to be honest. And that basically meant that they got away with it. I think PR would have been crushed up there if that hook shot hit. They would have lost 2 or 3 heroes. They would have still denied their tower, and they wouldn't have lost a hero themselves. But instead, Scandal dies down in the Clinks, which is a really high value kill for PR that I don't think they were expecting to get there.
Yeah.
And they really dodged a bullet.
And if he had hook-shot it in, then he would have had the battery assault on, so the Enigma wouldn't have been able to get that black hole off, so Clinks wouldn't have been disabled. Yeah, that would have gone completely the opposite. That is one of those hook shots that cost him pretty high there. Very unfortunate. But Clinks is still the leading farmer here. He is at 4.2k on the net worth chart, and Enigma at about 3.6 is the leading farmer on PR, so at least his farm is still very, very solid despite conceding that death. And he is just going to farm up the jungle here. Nyx Assassin going to scout him out with the Vendetta on. I don't know if he's going to have enough, but he's going to go for it here and going to try and finish off Scandal. The Nature's Prophet ult going to come in. And that will be enough. Well timed by PR. That is going to be a very valuable kill there. It will cost him a Tier 1 tower in the mid lane as the rest of RoX were pressuring it hard. But still, a great kill on the Clinks.
And they get a Tier 1 of their own, so an even trade in that regard. This is where we start seeing the lineups coming into play, because this is what RoX.KiS wants to do, and this is what PR tried to deal with their draft that could push themselves. But RoX.KiS, they're one step ahead in terms of laning position here. They're way closer to the Tier 2 tower. They're getting it very quickly as well with the Nether Blast from Pugna. The only problem is he's using his entire mana pool, and I'm not sure if RoX.KiS can actually defend the Tier 2 bottom either. So we might just see quite a lot of map control exchanged here, so nothing really gained.
Yeah.
I would say if anyone's the winner here is probably PR, because they got the bottom Tier 2. I would value that higher than the middle Tier 2.
Really?
Because of simply the way it gives entrance into the jungle here. The middle Tier 2 for the Dire here doesn't really cover anything as such, whereas the Tier 1 in the mid obviously is really important for Roshan control, rune control, counter ganking, entrance into your own jungle, but that Tier 2 there doesn't really provide as much. The Tier 2 on the bottom is the entrance into the Radiant jungle from the bottom lane, and that's just been removed for RoX.KiS, so aggressive warding for PR can give them a lot of intel about what's going on down there right now.
And you're right, they have an aggressive ward down right in the middle of the jungle, one there, and then one right on their high ground outside the Roche pit. So they've got pretty much that whole side of the jungle warded up, and they will be able to see if they will be able to scout it out if RoX.KiS are trying to farm away. Now Roche going to be under attempt here, and there was a rocket that flew in, so RoX.KiS know exactly what's going on. There's a hook shot on the mark, going to connect with the Nyx Assassin. He'll get off a nice Impale, and now Power Ranger is going to be on the back foot. Enigma without a black hole. Oh, ZXC going to survive with 25 hit points. Now Cogs at the low ground. Oh, Dazzle going to finish him off with the poison. Very nice. Cogs in a great position there to box out PR, and they'll be able to finish off Roshan. Clink's going to be the one to grab the Aegis. Biz forced to back up. We'll get a little bit of support. Now going to be able to go back in, perhaps. And PR still stationed about the high ground, looking for an entrance. ZXC going to lead the way. He does have Vendetta on. There was a sentry ward down, so they should see it coming. But still, going to try to engage onto the Dazzle. He'll get the Grave off. Not going to want to pursue on this, perhaps. Beautiful Cogs from that high ground. That's going to push the Nyx Assassin out of the way. Dazzle's still going to fall to the Wrath of the Luna. But now RoX.KiS may be able to turn here. There's the Eclipse. Going to be able to finish off Luna before the Lucent Beams come out. A 4-man Impale right there. Wow, beautifully played by the Nyx, and now RoX.KiS will be on the back foot. Nature's Prophet going to port in behind him, and Cogs will come out from Sidoi, but he is going to fall in the end. So kind of a weird exchange. RoX.KiS did grab Roshan, and they still have the Aegis on that Clinks, though, so I guess they do come out the victors in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think RoX.KiS won that fight, and the problem for PR in that Roche pit was that they kind of didn't seem like they knew whether they wanted to commit or not, and the problem for Luna was she wanted to cast her ultimate, but she was in the Nether Ward range. She was worried that the burst she would take from that would disallow her from actually using the Eclipse, because she would die shortly after, and then you just waste the ultimate. So
working on Clinks here. Gonna get a free
little
kill
bit
on
of trouble
Cheshire.
there. Yeah, that's trouble for a Prophet playing against Clinks. Once that Orchid is up, your split pushing is going to be a lot harder, and they might actually get a false feeling of safety because of their aggressive warding here, because they feel like they know where heroes are, but when Clinks is missing, this warding doesn't actually help them that much.
Yep. Oh, now ZXC in some trouble. They're going to throw down a sentry. Clockwork actually going to snipe it with the rocket, but RoX.KiS going to find themselves really 2 free kills about the map here. 1 in the mid and 1 in the bottom on 2 decently valued targets. The Nature's Prophet as well as who was the solo Nyx Assassin. 2 great kills.
Very, very true. And as long as these kills are free, I think RoX.KiS can be really happy with that, because they do have the Clockwork, who's a nice initiator, and Clinks with the Orchid, but apart from that, their ganking potential is actually kind of lackluster. They don't have so much to bring to the table. Dazzle's Poison Touch is okay, Abaddon doesn't really have anything, Pugna, Decrepify, meh, not too good. So if they manage to get kills, they didn't even use the hookshot there. I'm not sure how they killed the Nyx off, but that was a really important kill for them to get and to buy time, because the breaking point of this game that we're eventually going to get to is BKB. That is what PR needs. BKB on Luna, BKB on Enigma.
And Enigma
the BKB on Enigma is actually up.
Yeah,
and that
BKB
means
first.
The only thing that can break his ult is a hookshot.
Yeah.
Nothing else will stop his ult when he's in BKB. So it's a very powerful item, and of course, maybe most importantly, they can cast spells freely under the Nether Ward.
Yeah.
That's definitely something they would be very happy about.
Yeah, and I was going to comment, it looks like Nyx is going to be the one grabbing the mech, so that opens up J4 just to go straight for that BKB, and going to be proved to be very valuable. A very fast BKB on Enigma, may just opt for a blink next for that easier initiation. And we see RoX.KiS a little bit intimidated here. They know the black hole is up, they can probably assume Eclipse is coming up in about 5 seconds, the rough estimates at least. So being very cautious here, not to group up and not to just go in all overcommit to this tower. Instead, they're going to make the right call to slow siege and have Pugna just keep spamming that Q. But as we mentioned a few times, that mana pool a bit of a problem for Biz right now. He does have the mech, so he's also the mech carrier. Needs to make sure he has enough mana left to get that very valuable item off. And that's going to limit what he can do with these Nether Blasts for the rest of this slow siege.
Radiant's middle tower
Yep,
is under
sentry is
attack.
being exchanged here. RoX.KiS, actually not even being exchanged. RoX.KiS will destroy the one there. And the thing about this is that PR knows exactly what's going on. The question is if RoX can get the initiation they need.
Radiant's
Yeah.
bottom tower
And
is
they will
under
finish
attack.
off the tower, so they continue to find that slow
Structures are fortified.
siege opening and deny Enigma any kind of a good ultimate. Of course, the BKB
Rat
makes
Dota
it
bottom though.
a little bit easier, but yeah, without the blank, hard for Enigma to find a spot. You're right. That is going to be Nature's Prophet, chipping away at that tier 3. Actually going to do a fair bit of damage to it as well, about a quarter health or so. Not too shabby. And, oh, going to port basically on top of Go Black here. And it looks like they do want to pursue the Sprout. Oh, going to be off the mark. Abaddon will thrive.
That might actually have been fortunate for PR. I don't think they would have won that fight. Even though it was just Clinks and Abaddon, the Clinks could have easily soloed the Prophet there with the help of Abaddon just shielding and healing him, and he even had the Aegis on the Clinks as well. And since PR had no idea they were there, oh, here, wait on that, hookshot in the mid.
Going to connect with ZXC. He'll be stuck in the Cogs. Does burn the Spike Carapace straight away, but the follow-up going to be very easy. Go Black actually going to grab it with a miscoil, but Pugna doing the bulk of the damage there to finish him off. Now they're going to rotate into the jungle, and oh, Klink's going to be right on top of the Enigma. He can get that Orchid off. Enigma taking heavy damage here. Will be forced to burn a BKB charge. Wasn't really forced to burn it, but does burn it nonetheless. Falls anyway. I guess that's actually a bit of a misplay. That's that 10-second BKB already gone.
I think it seemed like he wasn't sure what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He could have BKB'd and then instantly stunned, and then maybe try to get away that way, and then he turned around again like he wanted to try to outrun him, so a little bit confusing there from J4, and RoX.KiS gonna already start putting some pressure on the base because of that kill. Very nice aggression coming out from them here, but I think they might have to retreat fairly soon as their two side lanes are being pressured heavily, although no, there's no glyph up for PR actually, but I still think they won't be getting in this time around.
Nope, Enigma coming up, of course, still has the black hole. That BKB going to be on
Scandal.
cooldown for another 35
Up
seconds.
top.
So maybe an option, but yeah, Scandal going to be tracking down Moon. No BKB out on Moon quite yet, so this very well could be an easy Orchid kill for the Clinks. And there it is, he's going to burn the Orchid. Couple of searing arrows. Moon trying to do some fancy footwork around the trees. It'll be enough to keep him alive, at least for now. Going to buy him a few seconds. He's going to try to port out. Scandal should have the burst to do it, I think. One more. Nope, not going to have the Strafe.
Nice play from Moon. Wow.
Strafe, rather. Yeah, that was really great. All
that
around the
fog
tree.
movement around the tree was amazing. I think I'm not sure if Moon actually needs to do this, or if he can survive by just instantly TPing out when he gets Orchided. I don't know whether or not Clinks actually has enough damage to take him down during that burst, but regardless, can't really put a finger on that play. That was really well done.
Yeah, that's bought him enough time, and he was able to pour it out. And I always forget that Strafe is, well, reasonably short duration, especially only at level 2, only 6 seconds. So if you can survive through those 6 seconds, the Clink's DPS really, really lessens without that huge amount of attack speed. So, yeah, very well played. Now let's take a look at these graphs here and see how things are faring. RoX.KiS leading by about 2,200 gold. They've got a solid experience lead as well, somewhere around 1,600, even though it is just about tied up in hero kills, 7-6. So they have done a pretty good job finding kills about the map. Clinks have been very active here, 4-2-1. He's been involved in 5 of the 7 kills. And that's kind of exactly what you want to see with the Clinks. Though, as you mentioned, BKB is going to be a problem for RoX.KiS. And once Luna grabs hers, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Clinks to put on that kind of pressure that we just saw. And she's damn close. 800 in the bank with a Mithril Hammer and Ogre Club already sitting in the inventory.
It's kind of a late BKB, though, for Luna. But she was mid as well, though, so...
Yeah.
Not the easiest time she had, especially not conceding that first blood like she did. And hasn't been the easiest Luna game overall, in my opinion, but... Valid point about the BKB, of course, can break the Orchid. Clinks is still going to do full damage, though. The Searing Arrows, as of the latest patch, do go through magic immunity, so will not be blocking that damage like it used to, which used to be a really good counter, but that plus 60 damage is still going through. So even in the BKB, I still think Clinks can actually really bring down Moon fast, so... The most important thing is that he can break the Orchid and get the ult off.
Yeah. And honestly, I really like that change for Clinks. I mean, do you think that was too much? Is he too powerful now? Should Searing Arrows not go through BKB in the opinion of Cinderin?
I think it's okay. There's already other counters to Clinks that completely lock him down, like Ghost Scepter he has nothing against in his kit at all. So it's still a hero that definitely has its counters, so I'm okay with that change. Since it's a hero that only does damage, then... I think it's fair enough that that damage goes through.
Yeah, and yeah, that's something we talked about before when I commented on how much damage it does at like level 7. But to be fair, that's really all Clinks does. Without the Orchid, he has absolutely no utility. So, yeah, I agree. I like that change. I think it gives Clinks a lot more viability here, and obviously why we see him picked up on much more frequent occasions. Roche going to be respawning reasonably soon here, probably about 1.5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. I still have trouble reading this silly little sundial inside the Roche pit, but shouldn't be too long here, and it looks like RoX.KiS may be ready to make that happen. Cheshire Cat pressuring this bottom lane as he is in the trees, will reveal himself, and they also have ZXC up in the top, hiding in the trees as well. So Power Rangers continuing to stay aggressive and looking for any and every opportunity to pressure this base and chip away at these towers.
And split pushing is definitely the way to go for Power Rangers, just to stall. Because I think the late game is favoring them. I really do. They have a Nature's Prophet for global presence, they have a Luna late game carry, Enigma is always a playmaker. Whereas RoX.KiS, kind of the only carry they have is a Clinks, which is great, don't get me wrong, he deals a lot of damage, but once that hero is controlled, doesn't really provide too much in the late game compared to others, and as long as this split pushing goes on, RoX.KiS doesn't get to execute their game plan. That's kind of the big issue for them.
FNG looking like he may fall. No, the Orchid and Rocket not going to be enough. He'll make it out with 30 hit points. Going to go ahead and just burn the port for good measure. Close call from Scandal, but if he had popped that double damage rune, would have been a kill for sure, but did want to save it for something a little bit more valuable than just a Crystal Maiden, though. Seeing his support poured out with 30 HP to spare, it's a little bit painful.
But once again, not the highest value kill anyway, so... Yeah. Would have probably felt a little bit worse if he let Luna get away because he didn't use his double damage, so...
Yeah.
But still, it's a kill missed, very true. Hopefully for RoX.KiS they can use that double damage to win a fight soon, because then it would prove to have been a good decision coming out from Scandal, but always in those border borderline cases, you could say, a little hard to decide. And there we go. He's going to use it to try to get Cheshire Cat. Yeah, okay. Force-staffing into Dazzle is probably not what he was hoping for. And will be brought down.
Yeah, going to end up being an easy kill there as Dazzle comes around the backside. And with that, Roche going to be up very quickly here. They scattered out with the rocket. They know there's that little bit of RNG, but it can't be too much longer. And I think just about 10 seconds or so, and they will find themselves into Roshan. So a very good time to pick off that Nature's Prophet. He is going to be down once they want to move into the pit, and that may make things a bit, well, not may, will make things easier for them as they won't have to worry too much about that Rat Dota style. Though, Power Rangers are in a pretty good position here. They're going to rotate their way into the Radiant
And Link
jungle.
still has the DD. Wow, this actually proved to be a really good decision.
Yeah, wow.
Killing Roshan very fast.
Take Roche down pretty quick, yep. So even if Power Rangers want to try and contest this and they come in here, I don't think they're going to make it in time unless they go right now. And Enigma going to hesitate. Does have the Blink Dagger, though. So we'll have an option, perhaps, to find some sort of initiation, but they're going to be forced to sacrifice it. And that's going to be a Roche the way of RoX.KiS here. And Klink's now going to bottle up a Haste Rune to follow up that double damage. And, of course, he does have that shiny new Aegis of the Immortal sitting in the inventory. Also,
y'all's in trouble.
Oh, y'all. Oh.
No, actually not.
ZXC without vision. Doesn't want to overcommit here. Yol going to hop forward. Does throw the Poison Touch. And there's the hook shot onto the Nyx Assassin. This is going to be a dead Scarab here. He does have the mech, is going to buy him a little bit of time, but nowhere else to go. The sentry comes down as well. And that is a dead Nyx Assassin.
Once again, PR. Now going to apply some split push pressure because of that, but I'm not sure right now who is gaining the better trade. I mean, of course, the Roche... Oh, wow. Scandal actually going to miss the first two attacks on the Prophet. Mistakenly hit the creep wave, but still going to get him.
Wow.
So much damage right now. So obviously, RoX.KiS are getting the better of this, but they can't take any collateral right now. But as long as they keep winning this hard, in these exchanges, they get pickoffs, they get more farm, they just got Roshan, then it's good. But on paper, the score and the way the game is going time-wise is not favoring RoX.KiS that much. The thing is, they're getting a lot of priority kills. Prophet died twice now, they got Roshan, and didn't really have to pay anything for it. So PR split-pushing plan's not really working right now, and might have to apply some sort of a plan B at this point.
Yeah, and we'll see. They do want to get that Luna farmed up. She now has the BKB, but doesn't have too much else to her name unless there's something on the courier right now. Nope, just some sentries.
He's skilling stats over Moonglaves.
Wow, now that's interesting.
He's feeling really pressured by this Klinks.
Yeah.
This is highly unusual. We almost never see this.
Yeah,
in a
I guess
competitive
just
game.
wants that little bit of extra survivability here. So I guess that really goes to show that PR feel like they're on the back foot really hard right here. There is a level 2 Necronomicon out on Cheshire Cat, and with that he is going to pour it out here. Does have Force Staff first, and then went into the Necro Book. So it is going to assist in the pushing power, but yeah, they're being very, very cautious here. I think PR could afford to group up and do a little bit more 5-man Dota style. They haven't really utilized this black hole too much, and that is one way to stop Klinks from picking off your supports and your split pushers. If you can just stay as a 5-man unit, it makes it a lot harder for Klinks to find an opening, especially into a black hole and the threat of an Eclipse. He is level 11 now as well, so it is a level 2 Eclipse. That does make things a little bit more scary. But look at this. RoX.KiS is going to go straight up the mid, while PR, thinking about pressuring the tier 2 top, they're instantly going to port back. Absolutely the right call here. They have a glyph available, but this tower is going to take a lot of damage.
This could backfire hard for RoX.KiS if PR gets the initiation they need.
Yeah, that
Prophet will take a
Enigma.
tier 2. They're not glyphing though. They're just going to concede this tower. I'm a little bit surprised with that. But maybe they want to try to take the fight inside the base at the barracks.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet still top. There's the glyph. Not a lot of heavy pressure coming in here. That slow push from Pugma does very well against the glyph. Now Scandal going to feel very confident. Does have a double damage rune on, so he's just going to go in the front lines. This is going to be the end of the racks. Where's the Enigma? Does he have an opening here? He can't find it. And Klink's just going to get free racks, compliments of that double damage rune. Nature's Prophet still pushing up top, but hasn't even made it to the tier 3 tower. And the racks have already gone down. I don't know, I just think that Enigma could have been a little more aggressive there. I mean, shit, just hop in and burn that black hole if it's the difference between your racks or not.
The problem was this positioning from RoX.KiS was really intelligent. They sent Klinks in front knowing that he has the Aegis and that there's an Abaddon backing him up. And if Enigma tries to black hole that, Clockwork was hanging out on the side out here, I think. And
yeah.
if you try to come in like that, the hookshot is just going to stop you right away on that black hole, and then it's eventually it's going to be a waste and maybe cost you the game. So I agree with the decision of J4 not trying this black hole, because to be fair, there wasn't any opening. I'm just a little surprised that PR might not didn't try to do maybe anything else.
Right.
They have other initiations.
Not even
they
a
have
Malefice,
stuns.
not even an Impale. Absolutely
No Malefice. No, yeah, because yes, the Aphotic Shield is going to break one of them, but then maybe you can follow up and put some harassment and maybe make Klinks think twice. But he wasn't pressured at all, so why would he care?
Right.
And if RoX.KiS tried to initiate in when you put on that harassment, that's when you might be able to get the black hole off, because who's going to initiate? It has to be Clockwork. There's kind of no one else to go in there to assist Scandal inside the base. No one has that initiation tool.
Yeah.
So
and that kind
it
of
was a hard call, though.
Yeah, that's
Really
definitely true. And you're right about the Enigma. The way Clockwork was positioned, it would have been hard. But that's a situation where I feel like you're almost better off just hopping in, trying to burn it, and forcing them to take some sort of a fight than just watching your barracks fall. And if you really want to be crafty, you can try and position someone else forward to make the hook shot a little bit more difficult to hook. Maybe wait around a creep wave so that Enigma is not just out in the open. But yeah, you're definitely right that it was a hard call, and we'll see if it was the right one for PR. They are going to be down mid lane of Rax. Still not game over. They will be able to come back from this. They've got plenty of pushing power to get right back in this game. The gold lead now about 7,500 experience, about 10k. So it's not insurmountable quite yet, but important to note that Klink still has that Aegis. And, well, he's got another just about 2k gold to play with, about 1.8k.
And a Blink Dagger.
Yeah. Oh, and a Blink Dagger. Oh my gosh, I'd missed the Blink Dagger. Wow, Sama style once again. This is really becoming popular.
It seems like he started a trend. Of course, it's really a good pickup because Klinks' main problem is when he needs to run in and he's scouted. It's a little harder to get in position. If you can blink in behind your target and start your strafe with BKB on, there's kind of no heroes that can really deal with that. So a smart pickup here is definitely going to work, and I like that RoX.KiS are just going to continue putting pressure. I mean, why not? They got it for free. Go for a next lane.
Yeah.
Let's see if PR wants to fight for this one.
Absolutely. This is an interesting ward right here. It's just about to expire, but not one that we see too often. And I think it was thrown down during that weird Roshan gauge, but still an interesting ward. Gives quite a bit of vision into that dire ancient area. I saw someone in Twitch chat pointing it out, and I do like that ward placement. Not one that we see too often. Could come in handy for those of you out there in your pub games. That's right, so I always got your back.
It's a very special ward indeed. Highly unusual.
Yeah.
But here we go, PR. RoX.KiS are indeed going to group up and start pushing for their next lane like I expected. They will be going towards bottom, but I think they're a little bit worried since PR's heroes are all missing, so they're expecting the smoke and actually dodge a gank here that could have cost them quite a bit. So when I said RoX.KiS were going to group up and just push the next lane, might have jumped the gun a little bit, because it doesn't look like that's actually the plan. They're going to have PR come to them first, and basically just wait, because their mid lane is pushing anyway. So yeah. Eventually PR is going to have to defend with someone, and that's going to give RoX.KiS info about where they are. And it's going to be Enigma. Now they'll move out.
Yeah, this is
instant Enigma is mid, they move out bottom.
Yeah, this is a great position for RoX.KiS to be in, because PR just have no lane control of that mid. So with creeps pushing into their base, they just can't take a 5-man force down to pressure this bottom tier 3, which is already down to about 2/3 health. That's exactly what they want to take down, but not going to find that opening. So they will press forward. Dazzle does have a gem now. I don't know if he had that in the last fight. I didn't check his inventory beforehand, but does have it now. So if Nyx comes about, will make for a pretty easy turnaround if he's not careful. Pugna did go for the Ags, and I guess I was totally wrong about that Necronomicon prediction here. Oh, Scandal maybe going to get a kill onto FNG. Nope, going to be forced to blink back. He does get dusted, so the right choice, I think, to get out of there. But yeah, an Ag's going to be on Pugna to go with BKB and Mech. Not going to be the Necro book that we were talking about, and now Crystallis in the inventory of Klinks as well. So he's starting to hit harder.
RoX is really getting in a better and better position right here, and I think PR will eventually have to just try to fight. The problem is that their Luna is so starved. You want to have one, if not even two more items than he does right now at 30 minutes. He has a BKB only.
Level 11. Wow, he's
and
really
level 11.
Low level.
He's had a really hard game here.
Yeah.
They need more out of him right now. This Impale from Nyx actually going to miss. This could be an initiation call from RoX.KiS.
Wow, Nyx just going to get melted as he gets decrepified. Moon going to go forward. That'll be a BKB. Eclipse going to be burned, but the BKBs come out from Rox. Luna going to fall. J4 going to get a decent black hole off, but Scandal going to be outside of it. He's just going to lay into him, and that'll be a very convincing team fight the way of RoX.KiS. Obviously, the GGs come out. Not a bad black hole. If he had caught Scandal, maybe they could have done something, but the follow-up damage just wasn't there. Luna had already burned the ult, had already been in the grave, and with Nyx down, no damage to follow up the black hole. So well played by RoX.KiS. They executed that very nicely, and will take a pretty convincing win here after 31 minutes of gameplay.
PR just ended up losing this game on not having the farm on the right heroes. And of course they were behind as well. They were behind by 10,000 gold, so let's not make that sound like that's nothing. Of course it's a really big deal, but the problem is that the Luna didn't have the farm. The farm was in the Prophet, and to a large extent the farm was an Enigma as well. And those two just can't deal the damage, especially not with the itemization that Prophet went for with Necronomicon 3, and the Mithril Hammer doesn't have the big damage items yet. He has a high net worth, but in this type of fights, he isn't worth his value in gold right now at this stage. He needs to split push to be powerful, and maybe get a little bit of a better angle than what RoX.KiS could force them into. But I mean, when you look at this kind of fight, the positioning from RoX.KiS is absolutely perfect. They stand back with the right heroes, they go push with the right heroes, and we get the same scenarios we talked about yesterday, where a team feels like it has to initiate but really doesn't want to, but if you just wait, you lose your tower and then your next tower, so you have to go in, and you just can't go into that. Their lineup just can't do it at this stage with the disadvantage they've been put in the game.
Yeah.
So, very nicely played by RoX.
Yeah, a much-deserved win. That does put Power Rangers in a little bit more of a difficult position in terms of the round robin. That will now push them to 8-4, and RoX.KiS will now actually be 9-2. And that won't push them into the #1 standing, as they haven't played enough matches quite yet, but they are in a very, very good spot at 9-2 right now. Alas, guys, we do have one more match coming up today for our Starladder Season 8 Day 20 coverage. Stay tuned, and it's going to be coming up right next. TR versus QPad, just a couple of minutes away.